Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And this is our second post-mortem on two high-profile failures in AAA gaming. We're going to talk about Concord. I call it Concord. People are like, it's Concord. I'm like, okay, whatever. It rhymes with turd. It's like Concord. Yeah, so we're going to talk about the death of Concord, offering a bleak look at gaming's future. They're actually upset that this game got the plug pulled on it. And then we're going to juxtapose that with Astrobot, which is kind of the future of gaming, which is cheaper games made just to give players a good time, not to preach at them, not to lecture them. They just want people to buy the video game.
I mean, that tree isn't judging me with his glowy eyes or her glowy eyes. I know it doesn't have pronouns listed, so I don't know.
You don't know what that tree is. No, it's just
eyes.
Just a fun game. So we're gonna talk about this and kind of again, this is a post-mortem. For those of you who don't know, this particular game was years in development. It was hundreds. I think it was at least $150 million to produce. It's basically an Overwatch clone. It got a lot of publicity and it failed catastrophically. It failed so bad that Sony actually pulled it down less than 2 weeks into release. That has never happened. Not for a game of this caliber. So they're learning a very painful lesson. And if Sony of Japan were smart, they would bring the video games back to Japan and just call it a day, because this is what you get when you send it all to California. I'm just saying. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
We have a word from the sponsor of this video. Secret Sky, The Young Universe is a brand new middle grade science fantasy novel from T. Alan Horne, author of Advent 9. It's the origin story of humanity as seen through the eyes of a young boy living on an Iron Age Earth in the early universe, but who dreams of soaring through the stars in the hopes of reuniting with his murdered family. Young Skylar's life is turned upside down when his family and his village are exterminated on the orders of a distant and mysterious king. For reasons the boy can't understand, the king's knights chose to spare only him, in defiance of their lord's orders. Skylar is given a new identity as he travels with the men who introduce him to the king as their captain's nephew, who has traveled all the way to the capital to be trained as a knight. Skylar has been having the strangest dreams. In them, Skylar is not a boy at all, but the fantastic and heavily armed starship Pazuzu, set loose in the sky. In these dreams, the stars speak to him and promise him his family is still alive and will be returned to him if he can fly all the way to the end of the universe. Every time he wakes from one of these dreams, he finds himself endowed with a new magic power, which comes in handy as he fights to protect himself and the knights who have promised to keep his secret. Against a waking life full of monsters, warriors, swords, sorcery, treasure, and ancient mysteries, Skylar has only one key for putting all the pieces together: the secret sky that haunts his sleeping mind. This book is available in hardcover, audio, and digital formats. Platforms include Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple Books, Google Play Books, and Kobo. Links in the description below. The audiobook is read by Andrew Iden. Hardcover is temporarily exclusive to Amazon. The digital book can be found on all major platforms. Audio is also available everywhere, including Audible and Spotify and all the previously mentioned platforms. Thank you so much, T. Alan Horne, for sponsoring this video. Again, check out Secret Sky, The Young Universe. Links in the description, in the comments section. Let's get back to the video. So Wired, oh, they're so upset. Concord's death offers a bleak look at gaming's future. Fans loved it, but not enough. Is the future of the industry blockbuster or bust? Oh my God, guys. They're talking about all the people that played it, all 697.
Yeah, I mean, what did you expect? Now, I mean, to be fair, too, that market is really, really saturated. So it was really, I mean, they started years ago, I get it. But at some point, you should have looked at this and been like, it's not going to work.
Yeah, well, that's the problem, because
took the write down, called it a day.
That's exactly what they did, because I think they looked at, live service game. If you don't hit the ground running and you're a developer like Sony, and this is Firewalk Studios, which is owned by Sony, but like you're not going to get traction, and you're competing against Fortnite and Destiny and Valorant and Call of Duty and all these games, Overwatch even, which this was very much like, that have been around for years, and people a lot of times pick a main game. If they're playing this kind of game, this is what they play, and you're coming in here with this game, and leading up to its release, there was all kinds of controversy already, because we had the devs out there, of course, attacking gamers. We had people bragging about how there are no white men working on this game at all or whatever. And it's like, okay, that's never a good thing. I mean, you can say, hey, by the way, later, but you want everybody's money, right? You want those bigot bucks, because 697 people were playing this concurrently. It's never
a good idea to call your potential audience names.
No.
I mean, it just really isn't.
So Wired says, we've never seen any AAA video game get this kind of treatment. I've never seen it. When I did the video on it, and you weren't in that one, you were actually out that day, but I was floored, because I've never seen a company like Sony pull the plug on a game like this less than 2 weeks after release, unless there's like a major bug or something or whatever. But like, they're just like, yeah, we're done. Just kill it. Just, again, this points us in the direction we were talking about in the other video, which is, I think these companies know on some level that this era of games, this DEI infused era of game, this is over. This game was started, I think, in 2016. I don't know. It's been in development for a long time, and I think they know, like, this is not going to fly. They're like, okay, we'll give it a big promotional push. We'll release it. But if it doesn't work out, we're pulling the plug. You can't tell me that somebody, because look, these decisions aren't made on the fly, right? You can't tell me somebody at Sony wasn't looking at it and being like, there is zero interest in this game. Or
they have a people in charge that are reminiscent of Disney in charge. And you couldn't say anything, because if you did, you'd get some kind of re-education training and you'd be called a bigot.
Probably.
So they knew it was going to blow up, and they sat back with their bucket of popcorn and waited.
Probably. Yeah. And that's,
if we're going to be honest here,
that's what's going on now. Like, everybody's attacking, these armchair, commentators on YouTube and Twitter and whatever. But the reality is they knew this was going to happen. A lot of these guys and girls knew that these games were going to fail, and they just kind of sat back. And then when it happens, they scream about it. And then they start blaming the gamers, and they start blaming the people on Twitter. We're like, hey, your website, your video game website, yeah, if you keep getting hyper political like this and you keep attacking gamers, it's going to fail. People aren't going to read your articles anymore, and they're going to actively avoid your website. And if the traffic dies, guess what? There goes your career. And they're like, bigots, bigots. And it happens. They're like, oh my God, we got laid off, and it's all the bigots' fault. It's like, no, the bigots tried to warn you. You wouldn't freaking listen, right? Sometimes bigots know what's up. But yeah, they said, we've never seen a AAA video game get this kind of treatment. That's what could make Concord a horrifying canary in the coal mine for gamers and game workers alike. It's unprecedented for a game of this scale to be shut down so quickly, says this video game analyst. Usually publishers keep games that struggle at launch on life support for a while. But in this case, the launch was so bad, there was clearly no way back.
And meanwhile, Dustborn did worse, and it didn't get turned off.
Yeah, well, Dustborn wasn't live service. So
no, but I also they didn't have to earn money.
They don't have to earn money.
They got all the government or the loans from Norway.
Norway. They got Norway bucks. I want Norway bucks. I probably got more Norwegian DNA in me than some of the people that worked on this. I want Norway bucks. But whatever.
Norbucks.
Daddy Norbucks.
Daddy Norbucks.
That's racist. It's Daddy Norbucks now. Yeah, they said for big companies, it's difficult to work out what bets and how large bets you should make.
Okay. First of all, even in 2018, it was clear that betting on something like that was a bad move. Hollywood, and I know in comics and publishing, and they were all betting on this. And then for the most part, not everything, but for, I'd say, a good solid 80% at least of this kind of stuff bombed and failed terribly. They lost money.
Yeah.
You know, we could have told them, you know, we'll be a consultant for $10 million. Don't do it. Stop. Don't. They've saved you how many other millions of dollars? It's
like Willy Wonka. Stop. Don't do it. Turn into a fucking blueberry.
Every time I shake my leg, my knee hurts. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
You know,
Stop.
okay.
Stop it. Yeah, this who is this person? Carlos? I don't know who Carlos is. Anyway, Carlos here says the middle of the market is disintegrating. The games industry is deprofessionalizing in many ways. Games as a stable profession will be tricky for many people. And they're talking about how there are some high profile AAA titles in development right now that might not do so hot. This person says, I think innovation is more likely to come from smaller companies with lower budgets.
It usually is, even like films, okay, and shows. When we were kids and stuff back in the 80s, when everybody, you know, tries to recreate it now, there are sometimes they have big budgets, but a lot of times, like Star Wars, the original Star Wars did not have a big budget. Like they didn't have big budgets and they had to be creative. And that's what led to the innovation and what people love so much. They made money because they kept their costs down and they were impressive and fun and creative. And now everybody's just trying to recreate the same wheel with huge budgets. And eventually people just get sick of it.
Yeah. And I mean, you look at the games that we loved as kids, you know, and a lot of them, they didn't have, I mean, the first game I remember having a massive number of people working on it was Final Fantasy VII because it had all those CGI cutscenes. But back in the day, it was relatively, you know, lean and mean, like, especially on PC games, you might only have like, you know, 5 or 6 people working on a PC game. And, that's not the case now. Now it's like you sit through, you know, 3 hours of credits. It's just like a freaking Hollywood movie. And they cost as much as a Hollywood movie too. And if people don't play it, you're going to lose a shit ton of money. But it's interesting because they're talking about Astrobot, and this is Sony, and they're like, yeah, this is the future. According to Bloomberg. This is Jason Schreier, who has me blocked, by the way. I don't know why. I've never talked to him. I think I probably follow the wrong person. Probably Grums. I follow the wrong person. But he said PlayStation's Astrobot is a model for the video game industry. And he talks about Concord in particular. He said that Concord feels symbolic of the industry's woes. Astrobot feels like a model for a more sustainable future. It was developed by a team of 60 people in 3 years, a stark contrast to the 6-year production staffed by thousands of employees that have become common in recent times. Rather than chasing endless gameplay, it's delightfully compact and can be completed in around a dozen hours. A godsend for busy parents or people with massive gaming backlogs. And they're not asking you to pay every month to play it. Mm-hmm. You know, it's, yeah. So, I mean, this is what gaming used to be. You would buy a game, you would complete it, you would compare notes with your friends. You know, we used to this dates me, but back in the day, like I used to trade NES and Genesis cartridges with my friends. At lunchtime, we'd bring our games to school and, okay, you beat this, I beat that. Okay, cool. We're going to switch for a week or two and then we'll switch back because this is before you could rent the games. But now it's like, yeah, this game is 200 hours and then you're going to have to pay $20 a month forever to play it. And, you know, and if you don't play it, if you don't want to commit that much time or that much money, you're a bigot.
Yeah, right.
You don't like the brown people that worked on it.
This is interesting to me. The person that was the director of it was Nicolas Doucet, and they said about the game, but they talked about how this person was at Lego before they went to Japan and worked in PlayStation. They helped start Sony's team, Asobi Studios. If I'm saying it wrong, I'm sorry. And he said the name comes from the Japanese word play because we wanted to remind ourselves always of the fundamentals of play, not, you know, how we can insert, you know, agenda narrative into there, but how we can make things fun. We might happen to have some, you know, characters who are diverse or whatever and things, but people don't care about that. They care if it's fun. You know, they might learn something along the way, but as long as they're doing it in a fun, engaging way, you know, and that's what matters.
You know, it's interesting because it's almost as if Nintendo has been doing this since pretty much the beginning, you know, and everybody else is like, wait, what? Because everybody makes fun of Nintendo and the fact that they use old hardware and the technology is dated, but people buy their games because they're fun. They don't have to spend hundreds of millions of dollars.
It's play. It's fun. It's not, oh, I have to be lectured to or something like that. It's fun.
I guarantee you the newest Mario game did not cost $250 million to make. I guarantee you Animal Crossing didn't cost $200 and some million to make. But they sold a shit ton of copies.
Because they're fun.
Because they're fun. Like, I mean, I love this. I'm like, wait a second. If you do this early on and you just look at the play patterns, you get rid of the most difficult task, which is to bring the fun. It goes a long way toward making a smoother production later on. Just make fun games with a small team. When you have a big team, sometimes you forget what you're doing.
There's also a lot of voices screaming.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. And a lot of those people, how many of them are actually necessary? We saw this with tech companies. We saw this, in real time with Twitter. Elon Musk came in, gutted it, 2/3 of people gone because what did they do? They basically, it was way too many cooks in the kitchen. I mean, there's so many damn cooks in the kitchen, nobody had room to work.
Yeah.
Or cook anything, and they're all like just trying to get into everybody else's business.
They set the kitchen on fire.
They set the kitchen on fire.
Each other on fire. It's
like
it's
The
not
Sims.
Pretty. They said that they kept the team small rather than swelling it into hundreds, resulted in a myriad benefits, such as offering all of the creative agency and input to the team. At the end of each 2-week milestone, everyone on the team was tasked with picking one aspect of the game they liked and one they wanted to improve, a process that made everyone feel like they were able to contribute. That's a brilliant idea. I'm an art teacher. My background is art education, and this is about down to critique. And it's always good when you offer critiques and then you have everybody present one positive aspect, one aspect you think could be improved upon, because then everybody feels like, they contribute to the discussion, and sometimes people, listen to the feedback and they'll take it into consideration and make changes and make it better. They said that the game is brimming with creative ideas and surprises, such as a forest full of singing trees and a mouse-themed level that you can explore by shrinking the robotic protagonist to a miniature size and getting an intimate look at mouse holes and apple cores.
Hey, baby, I want to look at your mouse hole.
However, this sounds fun. Not the mouse hole part, but
Well, that's it. We're getting geeky at PS5 now.
I want to play this, actually. This creativity was a result of everyone on the team sharing ideas, not just the designers.
Yeah, so this is interesting too. He said, I'm not saying it's the ultimate democratic team, but I think there's quite a bit of that, and that contributes to keeping the motivation up. Well, when you only have 60 people, you're taking feedback from a couple dozen people versus hundreds of people, and then they have to go through different departments to get
they're just
sign
saying
off.
that. They're saying a lot of these games don't listen to everyone. It's just the designers. They said the ideas come from everybody on the team.
Yeah.
It's not like game designers have a monopoly on good ideas. It could be an audio, visual, technical people. Yeah, because they might have some great idea for some kind of sound that could be incorporated into it, or some kind of way you can play with you can control the game or something, different things that could work. I mean, to me, it just makes sense to, ask everybody's input, like, and not just one group. That just makes sense to me.
Yeah, so this is it's so weird. This is Jason Schreier, who again, I don't know why he has me blocked. I think probably because I follow Grums or something. I've never talked to him. I've never attacked him, I don't think, but whatever.
I don't think.
He probably
talked to him. He probably comes out in an article or something.
Who the fuck knows? It's just another day for me. I lose track. But this is everything that we've been saying just in general, not just with video games, but with Hollywood and with comics or whatever. They said that, it might not drive billions of dollars in revenue, but because it was only developed by 60 people, its threshold for profitability is low. And this is how you create a sustainable industry. What is going on in Hollywood and in video games and all aspects of entertainment is there's so much bloat that, you can make $1 billion at the box office and barely make a profit because you spent so damn much money on the movie. You spent so much money making this stuff. Mm-hmm. And when you've got, 1,200 mouths to feed versus, 60, it's going to be a lot harder. But this is how they used to do it. It wasn't until pretty recently that everybody got nuts with the budgets on these games. Like I said, the very first video game I remember there being this huge credit roll on was Final Fantasy VII. That's because it was the first game to have that much, CGI. But like Myst was made with like 2 guys. Mm-hmm.
A lot of the games, like I mean, oh gosh, Tetris is how big popular, and it was like one guy.
It was one guy.
It's still played today. I mean, it just the bigger the team does not necessarily mean the better game.
Yeah.
I mean, you might be able to do more because you have more people, but then you might also do less because everybody's, very nuanced, and then they fight amongst themselves or whatever.
Yeah. And then the more people you have, the more of a chance you have for people to go out onto Twitter or social media and start, talking shit about potential customers. And that's just going to, that's going to make the rounds. And then next thing you know, a whole bunch of people aren't going to buy your game, not because they're actively boycotting it, but because they're like, yeah, I don't want to give money to these people.
He didn't block me.
Oh, okay. I honestly think it's because I follow Grumps. I think that's what it is, because I know he doesn't like him very much. But this is the path forward. It's not just video games, it's also Hollywood, it's also comic books. We need smaller teams making better stuff. Here's
some of the things he posted. He said, "Pleased to report the new PlayStation 5 game Astrobot is phenomenal, up there with the finest platformers ever made. There are so many delightful ideas and gameplay twists, and that music. It's hard to play without smiling. So I really want to play this game."
Okay, well,
and then said, in a single week, the same company modeled two divergent paths for the video game industry. One, a trend-chasing GAAS with a reported 9-figure budget that was killed 11 days after release. And two, a small but focused game in a somewhat niche genre that could win Game of the Year.
That's crazy. That's good. See, this is the thing. A lot of people are screaming about the jobs in the AAA gaming space, and I think this is necessary. I think this is course correction. I think that we had too many people working in an industry that had gotten too bloated, and all these layoffs, I know it doesn't make you feel better if you're one of the people that got laid off, but this is about right sizing and course correcting. Same with Hollywood, same with video games and everything else.
If you're one of the people that got laid off, who's to stop you from getting with other people that that got laid off and start your own independent game company?
Talent in a lot of cases.
No, not always.
No, okay. I will be clear. No, not always. And actually a lot of, especially
Chutzpah is more the problem, but yeah.
Right. I'm talking about some of the people that were bloat, that got gone, that don't have the talent to go out and do it themselves. They can only move into a warm seat.
Yeah, the ones who weren't qualified in the first place. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about anybody that got gone.
I'm talking about people that can do it, right?
That could do it,
yeah.
but they got laid off because the company lost money chasing shit that didn't work. Start your own thing.
Start your own thing, yeah. And this happened in the 80s, too.
Apparently, it's easy to get funding if you
yeah, all the right diversity. That's over. Like, you're going to have to, at this point, it is strictly between you and the customer. And you're going to have to just make stuff that people want to buy. I mean, this is like capitalism 101. There is no more free money. You're going to have to just make games that people want to buy. And you're going to have to make them under budget and sell a lot of copies so you're profitable. This is not hard. This really is not
Sounds hard. Though. It does. You only have to do this. But I think if you had a good idea and you implemented it well, people are going to see it.
Yeah.
But we're going to wrap this up.
We're going to wrap this up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.